Hey guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a video about all the books I have read so far in 2018, and it's going to be like one of those nerdy stat videos of, there's going to be charts, and it's going to be that type of thing. And I haven't made one of these before, like, in the middle of the year, because I just, never saw the point of them, to be honest, because I was always like, oh, I'll do these type of wrap-ups at the end of the year, but I've been seeing them going around BookTube a lot lately, like, specifically with Emily Fox on her channel, and Heather from Bookables, and so I'll put their links in the description so you can see their mid-year videos. But I thought, why not just make a video updating my reading progress of the year so far. So far this year I have read 55 books, and so I just wanted to break it down by like what genres I'm reading the most, what target audience, like if I'm reading adult or young adult, and like physical books or ebooks, and that type of thing. I made a little handy dandy chart here. But as I said in the beginning, I've read 55 books this year, and for this year I made my goal 75 books, but I'm probably going to end up changing that to 100. So as far as my ratings go so far this year, I've had 12 5-star books, 24 star books, 10 3-star books, 12 2-star books, and 1 1-star book. If you're curious, the only 1-star book I've had this year is Tell Me Lies, and this is one that I DNF'd. I couldn't finish this, and it was the most disappointing thing I've read so far this year, but this has been my only 1-star. I'm actually kind of surprised because my ratings have been on the higher end this year. I mean, I have reread 3 books this year, and those are all included in my 5 stars, so technically I only have 9 new books that I've given 5 stars to, but my 3 rereads this year have been Him, The Hating Game, and Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. These 3 books were all 5 stars for me again, and I reread them for the first time this year, and they were all fucking fantastic, but these were all included in my 5-star reads. So some of the books that I've given 5 stars include Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, The Humans by Matt Haig, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. These are all the physical books that I own that I've given 5 stars to, and the rest have been all ebooks, I'm pretty sure. Right. The next thing that I always like to do too is break it down with male versus female authors. So this year I've read 19 male authors and 36 female authors, which if you look at my end of the year video from last year when I did the stats video, I've read a lot more male authors than I normally do this year. Last year I think I only read 20 for like the whole year, and I read like 112 books last year, so like the percentage was like way low, but this year it's getting closer to like almost 50-50 male and female authors read, which is really cool. For what kind of book I'm reading, I broke it down into physical books, ebooks, and audiobooks, and so I've read 39 physical books, 10 ebooks, and 6 audiobooks, which is pretty good. I mean, that means I'm actually reading the books that I own, which is good. I've only listened to 6 audiobooks this year, which makes sense because lately I've only been listening to audiobooks when I'm going to school because I live close to where I work now. So as far as the target audience, like what age of books that I'm reading, so I read 11 young adult books, 10 new adult books, and 34 adult books. And so for the adult, I lumped in all of the like nonfiction that I'm reading and anything like that. So I'm reading mostly adult books, which doesn't surprise me because lately, as I've said in recent videos, I'm just like not super feeling like young adult books anymore. It's just, I think I'm going through this phase where I'm like not really wanting to read young adult, because every time I do, I just get put in this like slumpy mood. So I've only read 11 young adult books this whole year out of my 55 books, so. And then the last big thing that I have is genres, like types of genres. So I narrowed it down into 10 genre types. So the chart looks like this, and so I have 13 contemporaries, which is not surprising, 9 romances, 8 thrillers, 7 sci-fis, 3 horrors, 4 literary fiction, 4 nonfiction, 4 fantasy, 2 historical, and 1 dystopia. So as you can see from this, I'm just not a dystopian fan. I really am not. The only one that I read this year was one that I was sent a review copy. For fantasy, that includes any like magical realism or any stories that are like fantasy. Like, I haven't read any like hardcore fantasy, like, let's be real. I'm not surprised. Mostly what I'm reading is contemporaries, romances, and thrillers, as I've said, but I also included another section that I just put LGBT, and I just marked that down with any books that were romances that were also LGBT, or any books that centered around an LGBT character, and I have 8 books that I've read that have been LGBT this year, which is a lot lower than last year, but also this year I've been reading a lot less romance, so it kind of makes sense. But I did read The Cabin at the End of the World, which is the first horror novel I've ever read. That centers around an LGBT couple, so that was really fucking cool. Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that there's 7 sci-fis and 8 thrillers. Like, sci-fis? Like, I didn't even realize I've read that much sci-fi this year, but you know. I also just wanted to show my Book of the Month books because I want to keep a tally on how many of my Book of the Month books I'm actually reading for each year. And so I've read 10 of my Book of the Month books so far this year. That's what that stack looks like. This shelf that I have back here are all of the Book of the Month books that I have read so far. So these are all ones that I read last year, and then these are all the ones I read so far this year, and then these are all the ones I still need to read. So I'm trying to keep a tally on how many of my Book of the Month books I have read. Those are all of the books that I've read so far in 2018. If you're curious about like specifically what I have read so far this year, then I can put a link in the description for my Goodreads reading challenge that shows all the books that I've read this year. I didn't want to go like one by one and like show you every single book that I've read this year, and if you want to see that at some point, then just let me know in the comments if you would want to see something like that in my end of the year reading stats video, because I don't know, I never usually watch those kind of videos when people like hold up each individual book they read throughout the year and give the rating and stuff. But if you guys want to see that from me, I'd totally be willing to do that. I just didn't think people would be interested in watching something like that. So if you do want to see that in my end of the year reading stats, then just let me know. And yeah, how many books did you guys read so far this year? What were your best books? What were your worst books? Where are your ratings at? What genres are you reading the most? Let me know and we can talk about it. And I will see you guys soon with a new video. Thank you for watching. Bye.